Hey folks, welcome back. We are now working on our next project, which is to show motion blur. So sometimes you want to blur motion out to make it look like something's moving, to make it clear. So it's the opposite of what we did in the last exercise. Now we're trying to slow our shutter speed down, so longer exposures, like generally like more like 1/10 of a second or slower than that, so that when something moves in the frame, it's going to be blurry. The key to that is making sure that some of the frame is sharp, so it doesn't look like you just screwed up. So you want to sort of plan it out and figure out how you're going to freeze the camera with a tripod or whatever it is. And then what's going to be moving and what's going to not be moving. So you have to think about it a little bit more. So what's coming up now are several examples. I'm going to do about 5 or 6 of different ways into this to give you some ideas of how to shoot your own stuff for the assignment. So let's take a look at some options there. Let's start off with something fairly simple. We're just going to get a shot of me walking across the frame and blurring it out. So a couple of things. When I'm shooting myself, what I do is I use a timer on the camera so that I can set it to take the picture and then I can walk in. Otherwise, I won't be able to get it. So maybe a 5-second timer so there's a delay for me to get in position and then I can walk across. I also pre-focus the shot so that I know basically where I'm going to walk and then the camera's going to be in focus there. Focus doesn't matter that much with these because you're going to have a very wide depth of field because you're going to tamp that aperture way down. So you don't have to freak out about, focusing to the millimeter, but you still do have to pre-focus the shot to make it work. So let's take a look and see how we set that up. Okay, so I've got my camera here and I'm set to f16 and I'm going to drop my ISO right down to 100. So that's my least sensitive stuff. So now I'm just checking my histogram as I adjust my shutter speed up to 1/10 of a second. And that's going to give me a fairly solid exposure there. So then what I'm going to do is now turn on the self-timer. 5 seconds should be good. And then I'm going to pick a place to focus on. Let me write down, down there in that grass. And you know what, actually let's turn on the display. This is not level. Level the camera out. I like a nice level horizon. I'm just using a little level guy to help me do that. And then refocus again. And that's right where I'm going to walk. So now I trip the shutter. Go back here. And I've already forgotten if I gave it a 5-second or a 10-second timer. But let's see if it goes off. Let's try that one more time to be completely safe. And that was a 5 seconds, so I'm going to go up to 10 seconds. I'm going to actually count this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That time I know it worked. I could see the light on my camera going solid green while I was going across, and that should have gotten me a picture of me blurred with the background fairly sharp. So let's go in and move on to a couple other shots, and then we'll take a look at everything on the computer to see how it came out. Okay, here's the first shot we're going to do. I've been trying to learn how to play the piano this summer. I'm not going to make you listen to me play because it's probably not good. I mean, I know it's not good yet, but I thought it would be a good idea to set up something where maybe you see the hands blurring across the keys and the piano's in focus and sharp, but the hands are moving. That would be kind of a fun use of blurred motion. So let's try and set that up. All right, I already have the camera set up the way I want it in terms of the composition. It's Let's review that picture. Ooh, that's kind of neat. Let's try one more. So now I get 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Did that work? Oh, you know what it is? My hands are so far on the left side. Let's play something a little bit higher up so I get in the shot more. We'll do another one. Now we're going to try something completely different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and freeze my subject, but show that it's moving by blurring out the background. And what I do is I keep my shutter speed somewhere kind of in the like 30 to 70th, 1/30th to 170 something of a second range, so that when I'm moving the camera at the same speed as the thing that I'm shooting, the background will turn into streaks of blur and the thing I'm shooting will be relatively sharp. So that the motion is actually we're switching. The thing that's moving is now frozen and the stuff that's not moving is now moving because the camera's moving. So I'm going to use my big telephoto lens and I'm going to shoot cars going by in the street. So first what we need to do is let's see what I can do to get maybe a speed of about 1/60th of a second. And then I'm going to drop, really ISO 9.5 seems pretty solid there. So let's see what we got coming by. And I'm just going to put my focus point on the right. And then I'm going to hold down focus and move it at the same speed as the thing I'm shooting. So I'm waiting for a car to go by. And maybe looking at it now, there's some shadows there. So actually F13 is a little bit better of an exposure. I'm going to move my thing down. I keep that focus point right on the... Oh, the car's coming the other way. Let's try one coming... Trying to listen for a car. And this time I'm going to set my release to continuous so that I can fire off a burst of shots as they're going by. That's just going to be a blurry car. And I mean, you can always blur the car if you want and just do like a stationary shot of the car moving by. That might also be cool. We'll see if any of those look any good. They seem to be much more often going the other way, so I'm going to move my focus point over here. I like to shoot things coming into the frame rather than out of it. I hear another one coming that way. And there's a lot of trial and error. More so than anything else because I'm playing with something that's not... Those ones might have worked. Oh, and there's another one right behind them. Why do they come in pairs like that? I hear you say, but I haven't got a tripod. What do I do? If I haven't got a tripod, how am I going to get these motion blur shots? Well, never fear. Here's what we can do. And I apologize for that stupid accent. See these? These are socks. I'm going to use these to balance my camera, which is going to be even harder for me than it will be for you, on the desk. And I'm saying it's hard because I got this great big Atomos recorder on there to try and actually I might not even need them right now, but generally if you're going to go outside, you take a little bean bag or some socks or something like that, it can help you adjust the angle of the camera. So we're going to use that to get a shot of my face looking crazy. Let's see how that goes. So now I'm back, and what I've done is I flipped the Atomos screen around so I can see what I'm doing. So now I just need to change some stuff. Let's get rid of that thing. And right now I'm at bring my ISO right up to 100. That's my best image quality there. And then I'm doing everything backwards. So it takes me a second to catch up to what I'm doing. That looks like that's going to be a pretty solid exposure. So now, actually, you know what? Lies. I'm going to set this back to the self timer. And because I don't have to go anywhere, I'm just going to set it to a 5-second timer there. And set it up. Oops. And I cranked my ISO up when I was trying to set the camera down. So now we got a 4-second exposure. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can use a little little guy on my face. Pre-focused, that's pretty good. And then I'm setting it now to go, and then I'm going like this. And that's kind of my picture. Now let's try a couple more variations on that. That was a side to side. Let's see what happens if I go up and down. Then let's try one where I go, I'm going to be in the shot for 2 seconds and then duck out of it for 2 seconds. And that should make me kind of invisible. Not invisible, because then what would be the point? But it make me like translucent. All right, let's try going in and out of the frame. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try that one more time going even slower. I'm going to start right in here. We'll see what that looks like. Okay. And then let's do one where I'm moving really as fast as I can. Hopefully I won't throw up. Okay. So there's that shot. That happened. So one of those might be kind of interesting. We'll take a look at them in Lightroom in a minute. For this next one, we're going to try making the room extra dark, and we're going to play with trails of light using this little lighter. And it's going to be real basic, just like the concept behind light painting. Later in the semester, you guys are going to get to try to do something actually more sophisticated with that. But for now, we're just going to get the idea of how it works. All right, so first I got to pull the curtains and darken this room out. Okay, now that's nice and spooky. Wake this camera up. Oops, I'm just going to turn it on, I guess. Okay, so then, looking at this, a 4-second exposure is not going to cut it. Let's just say 10 seconds is good enough, and then I'm going to use the aperture to brighten it up the rest of the way. And I want it actually a little bit dark still, because I don't want the flame to overexpose, because that's going to be brighter. That looks okay to me. So then I get back where I kind of was. And let's see what we got here. All right, let's try that one more time. I'm going to get in closer because that's where I actually focused. And I forgot to set a timer there, so hopefully the camera's just nice and steady. This thing is dying. Let's try it with a cell phone flash. Okay, that's going to be very bright. Let's see what that does. It's going to make some stuff look pretty weird. Okay. Okay, so now let's take a look at these pictures. So I'm in Lightroom, and I'm going to import, hit plus, and I'm just going to take it straight from my memory card because I don't have to do the Amazon Workspaces stuff that you guys have to do. But, yeah, sorry. And I'm going to hit add 49 photos. Incidentally, if you're noticing these things on my glasses, and you're like, what is that? It looks stupid. It does look stupid, but the idea is that I can put my mask on like this and hook it to the buttons instead of behind my ears, so when I'm wearing the thing all day, it doesn't make me miserable. So I'm going to try that. It didn't fit perfectly with the buttons that I put on there, so I had to put little bits of paper towel, and I'm starting to look like my dad. Just like, I don't know, that's stuff that happens. Okay, so now we're into Lightroom. And first shot we're looking at is, this is me kind of walking across the frame. So we'll give that a 1 star because that kind of worked. And I'm just going through with the keyboard and I'm hitting ones. This one, I missed it. That's kind of neat. What is that next to? I don't know what that is sitting. Is that my sock that I thought I got out of the shot, but I didn't? So pay attention to what you're doing with the shots. That's kind of fun. That's the light with the candle. Oh no, that's the light from the cell phone. And then this one here. Let's. Okay. And that's, I don't know. Ooh, that's a little bit more interesting. So you can see these are the ones where I just had the camera resting on the desk. That's the one where I ducked out of the picture after 2 seconds, so you can see through me. I tried to hold fairly still, so I'm there, but I'm not. That's me going up and down. I don't find that one particularly good. That one where I'm shaking my head side to side. It's just the one where I was really shaking it, so like you can see the difference in how fast I move makes a pretty big difference. These are the ones where we're panning and following the cars. That one works okay. You can see the car is pretty sharp, but everything else is blurred. The car is not perfectly sharp, but we're giving that sense of motion, so it's okay. We can kind of accept that. Close this little editing thing. That one's okay. No. That one's a little bit better. None of these are great shots. I didn't really line anything up very well, and just trying to get something. People walking, mostly just kind of like garbage blur. If it's kind of blurry, that's the worst, because then it looks like you didn't do it on purpose. You just screwed up your shot. Like that's garbage. Garbage. That's kind of interesting. I was going the other way. I was shooting the people and the car went by. That's the lady looking at me like, what are you pointing that giant lens at me for? And then we've got these piano shots. That's okay. And what's fun about these is you've got like this ghosting effect of the piano, of the hands, but then the piano itself is sharp, good colors and all that stuff. That one's okay. That one's probably my favorite so far. This one's okay, but the hands are so far off and they're not really that blurred. That's kind of fun. And that's what we shot. So at this point, I think you probably know how to stick them into the slideshow, so I don't need to make you do that stuff. But that's what we're going for, is a sense of like, okay, I am trying to blur something on purpose to achieve an effect that I'm actually trying to like do. So have fun with that and show me what you come up with. Cool.